Welcome to Kickstarter Radio 102.4. I'm your host Lipstickpaddy, and we're over on Gamefound looking at Last Light. Now, this is a true 4X space experience, it says, that you can play in an hour. Seriously? There's been so many board games, and a lot of late calling themselves 4Xs, and they're all BS. I'm telling you, no, they're all BS. There's no real exploration when you can see the whole map. Anyway, now, Roy Kennedy is the designer here, and I'm going to say out the bat that I think it was a giant mistake that he went with a retail publisher who dips their toes into crowdfunding, but they dip their toes in like a retail company. I think he should have really waited and maybe have gone Awakened Realms Light, he may have gone, or some other Kickstarter specialist. Because I think what we're seeing here is a little bit of retailitous that is within this. Anyway, so that's where I am. Right, so let's go down, shall we? 2 to 4 players, it says 1 hour. Not seen an hour playthrough, to be frank, and there is an expansion up to 8 players. That's going to push it to 2 hours, I'd say. Is it really going to push it to 2 hours? It's simultaneous play and then a little bit of turn-based. Now, so this is what it looks like on the table. I don't really like the board, actually. You know, it's got UV spotting on it, and can we not have, like, gases in space? Nebula? You know, you look at Star Citizen, what they're doing to the world, they're making space itself look beautiful. It's not just black. They have put this kind of art style on it, but I'm not really happy with that. And these boulders around the outside are kind of... don't like... I don't like them. I know they're supposed to represent space that you can't go into, but why can't you go in there, question mark? And I don't, if you could play it longer, you might have thought, you know, those asteroid belts that you can't go into, you might want to take something inside there where you could mine it and actually get resources from how many of them you actually own, which help you craft things, but, there we go. So you can see the whole world here. There's no real exploration. There is kind of areas of this map that you can't see what's there. It's kind of a random tile, and when you turn it over, you might get lucky, you might not get lucky. But, you know, in one of the playthroughs on the dice tower, someone turned something over and got like a purple card, which was like an elite epic upgrade. So that's not... I don't think that kind of random thing is going to be welcome in a 4X type game. Also, these planets, if you think about it, if a planet is in the same rotation around a star, exactly the same rotation, shouldn't they collide? Because one's going to be slower than the other, and eventually they would smash into each other. So there is that. I kind of find it weird how you've got planets rotating, but you've not got planets rotating on the outside. So it almost feels like the rotation is a little bit of a gimmick. Especially as it rotates and all your ships rotate with it. Sure, your spaceships don't have an inertia from the gravitational pull of the star. That's stupid. And so there's like little things like that, and it would have been nice if you could actually use a turn to power up your ship, for example, where you're at a planet, so that on the next turn you could really push yourself maybe 3 movement spaces, because you're basically, you know, you're potentially doing the physics where you're going around the planet using the planetary pull to slingshot yourself through space. That would have been a nice mechanic, but there seems to be a lack of physics going on here with these planetary bodies here, and that's disappointing. because this has been designed to be streamlined as heck, there's no like fascinating tech tree involved, which is a bit of a shame. You know, because this tech tree lets you have different play styles depending on how the map turns out, and stuff like that. Now, when you go to the planets, there's stuff you can do on the planets. You know, the base has like colours that you can potentially do stuff with them, but I don't know, it's more fascinating in Twilight Imperium 4, isn't it? The planets, when you can go to them. You know, you got to be looking at like the heavy hitters of the 4X in the board game space. So that's where I am. A little bit disappointed with the board. I don't like the fact that it just rotates for the sake of rotating. It just feels like a gimmick, and I'm not that happy with the kind of what you can do on the planet. And this, you know, the way you're going to win it is you're trying to get as much light as possible, because this star in the middle is going to die. Is the you know, the person who gets the light is he's going to win it. Now, what's nice is I think when you get to 8-player expansion, the board does get bigger? Question mark. Do all these stones come off? I can't remember how it was explained, but I think it does get a bit bigger. There's more stuff going on. And it looks like the ships have been stretched, and one of the big things of the stretch goals at the minute is to try and update the ship so you get individual ship classes. Because as we go down, we'll look at how it sets up. But the exterminate, yeah, you're going to attack your enemies. Expand, yeah, because you are going to be colonizing planets. Exploiting, an exploitation in a 4X is kind of bullying, isn't it? I don't think there's any bullying that goes on. Or some kind of strategic play. You're going to exploit a partnership. You might team up with someone to do something, but anyway, there's certainly no exploration other than unlocking these tiles, and so yeah, it's like a quasi 4X. So here's the rotation. It's gimmicky. Yeah, it is really gimmicky. These planetary bodies and everything rotates. It's a little bit weird. Now, what's in the box? It's fairly expensive, isn't it? I mean, that's probably because you're getting all these big planets that are putting the price up. Rotating board as well is going to be a little bit pricier. Now, you've got the standard edition with these discs that you're putting down. And of course, if you are interested in the game, you're probably going to go for this Deluxe edition, because you've got all these 3D components and all that. Now, I've got to scratch my head when it comes to the Alien faction cards, because this is the first thing that the retailitous that I'm seeing here, because they certainly could have contacted artists that specialize in alien, you know, kind of more realism. Some of these really just, I just think, ugh, like the guy that looks like Groot is like, ugh. I mean, look at this guy, looks like Light, not happy. Mr. Green Crystal Dude, Mr. I'm an Ant bug type thing, the Melliferia, like, I just don't, not pulled in by any of these, and it's the fact that it just looks cartoony, and I think for me this pulls me away from the immersion that it could be, you know, and you know, this is kind of the only art you're going to see in the game anyway, because if we go down here to your colony ships and your player boards, there's serious lack of art. Now, these player boards, they have been designed in the retail space to kind of slip cards underneath that give you upgrades, and it's like more gimmicky, because you know, these boards are trying to represent your light ships, your medium ships, your bigger ships. I would have preferred a big expansive player area, because when you upgrade your ship, we'll come down in a minute, you can see the technology cards here. This is instead of having like a technology tree, you're getting like technology cards that you are finding on the map. And because these cards are going to slip underneath your player board, there's no real sense to have any art on these, and that's a real shame. I wish these mods would look better, and you had like a bigger board and you could see more art as you upgraded, because, you know, ship mod, bombardment, that would look fantastic. A pilfering beam, really nice. Trading ship, that would look nice with some kind of neon advertising that you could put onto, you know. But so there's like, it's almost like it was designed this way, where we could just simplify the art. And if you look, for example, on the 25 action cards, these are the 6 actions that everybody's doing in its simultaneous movement. The art that you're getting on them almost feels like the artist is separate from the artist that did these alien boards. So there's 2 artists. I don't know, if it is one artist, I'm not happy. The graveyard cards that everybody has, this is kind of letting you attack and gain things, like it's, you know, it's recycling. Combat die, the custom dice, they're okay, I guess. Planetary achievement cards, these are kind of giving you a focus to do in the game. I don't think you have to play with these, but they're fairly dull. But I mean, if you're playing for an hour, you don't want to be playing the first couple of rounds and not knowing what to do. I mean, they give you a kind of a smack of the arse to give you an objective, as a 4X is supposed to be open worldy. Now, so these acrylic planets, they've gone for like marbles, and they just don't look like planets. All the same size. All the same size, you know. None with rings around them like Saturn. No really big ones like Jupiter gas planets, or smaller ones like Pluto. It's just a marble, dog, got marbles on them, you know, it's just marble. No real interest in having moons or anything like that, because you could have had, for example, a planet in a tile and then a smaller one on that tile indicating it has a moon, and you could do something else with that in gameplay. But again, it's been absolutely stripped of anything of interest because it wants to double down on this. You've got to play it for an hour. So this has had a massive constraint on the game for me. Too much of a constraint, because a 4X in an hour? Have you got a play group that really only has an hour to play a board game? Question mark. I mean, I think you could have done a lot more in 2 hours. And I think most of my board game events that I do are 2 hours. And, you know, we push out a 3 hour, you know, if the game suffices it. So, hey, but that's me. You know, you might have a group that only likes 1 hour. So I just think you're playing this space game, but are you getting this kind of feeling that you're in space doing cool stuff? That's my kind of thing. If I look inside the retail space at the minute, you've got the Star Wars fancy flight game, which it's a pick up and deliver type game. What's it called? Outer Rim? I think I got it. Editor, I think I got it. Can we put the box out up here? That thing, for me, that's more of a 4X with more fun things to do, and you can do trading in that. You can really double up on your ships and get weapons on your ships and stuff. That's kind of more interesting. Anyway, here's the big expansion that you can get. Nicer colours for me. I'd probably go white. I like white. What's your colour? What colour would you go for? Resource canisters, they're kind of cool, and they're like tokens. But the new player boards, they don't look like they're pertaining to any aliens, and because you've got so many aliens, it almost makes it impossible to do a player board. Well, it does seem weird that there's loads of aliens. It would have been nice because if you got 4 player boards, you could have doubled down on the detail of. I would have doubled down on 8 boards that are, you can turn them over, and you've got the art for each one. Then, because for example, you might pick a faction that doesn't want to do combat, and their ships are all based in trading. And it would. I don't know. For me, it's kind of too slim. It's too slimline for me. Anyway, now this expansion gets more sideboards. I think it needs to make the map bigger. I think to balance it out. And I mean, look at this alien, which is like a worm. Ooh. I hate the fact when you see aliens like this, because it's like, how these aliens got into space in the first place? How did they design stuff? How did they manufacture from a ship? How did they get off world on their planet? Like, they can't even touch keyboards. It's just silly stuff. And it's just, let's make an alien species, rah rah rah. Don't like it. Like, no. Really don't like it. And really, these alien faction cards, they're just giving you something that's asymmetric, right? So you've got like a power, but it seems really weird that, it would have been nicer to have some better in trade, some better in technology, some better in faster ships, run and gun piracy, some that are in laser weaponry, some in this kind of weaponry, but there's no real thought about, being that kind of class. And that's kind of disappointing, that the aliens you're playing is just a piece of art and just an ability, and it's disappointing. And the planets, I really don't like them. But game's still in development, and content's supposed to change, absolutely. So, Great Fox exclusives. They are what they are. It says you're going to get cheaper prices, of course. Yes, you want to do some research, you're getting some tech cards, but it's not like a tech tree. Mining areas, construct more ships, do some trading, refresh, which means get all your cards back, and command, I can't remember what that one is. Move around, is it? Command. So yeah, these researches, they're boring really, aren't they? Because there's just no art. It would have been fantastic to see what the warp drive looks like, bombardment, salvaging, all these upgrades to the ship, all this kind of look like, but they've gone for like the most basic play area. And this is why, because if you think about a Kickstarter game, they often have big table hog presence, and I love that, right? Because I've got a giant table. But when you look at kind of a retail space, they designed so that that game fits in a board game table. And the board game tables are all small by design. You've got this big 5-centimeter dugout, which is taking 10 centimeters of space from the potential play area. And so that's kind of where I feel like the constraint has come also from the retailitis, in that your play area could have been a nice, really meaty kind of mothership with all these ships in front of you, and you're plugging in these abilities for the certain light ships or heavy ones, and you can actually attach them to these. That would have been really cool as a command station in front of me on the board, but I've just got this bloody small thing that same area. My board is the same as everyone's around me. It doesn't have my flavour of my alien race on this board. Oh, it could have been so much better, but it's just, you know, retail always has this attitude of it'll do. Oh, that'll do. We don't have to do anything special. No, simplify. No, we don't need to do that. Like, that's what retail does. It kind of stops any ambition, any kind of, you know, because Kickstarter is like where you shoot for the moon. You go for absolute fantastic stuff, and that retail hammer just smacks them down and like, you don't need this. This is bulk. This is fluff. This is weight. Too much weight. Bang, bang, bang. They just slash everything. And they completely reduce it down to this basic stuff. And it drives me potty. Oh, I've got ranting space here. Right, calm down. I've got no drink with me. So. Well, I think you know what my opinions are now. My little rant of last light. It's a bit of a disappointment throughout. And, yeah, you know, more ship models. Needs it, you know, yeah. Golden planet, yeah, that, you know. That looks kind of better. More technology cards, more of these aliens that I'm not going to be happy with. Just the art, my goodness me, the art. I really don't know. And they've started upgrading the medium and heavy ships, haven't they? Yeah. More dice. If you're going to have 8 people, you're going to want more dice to cover around that table. And they have this white dwarf star, which is the middle of the board. They're going to give you one that's a larger centre of the table. And you can click here and it goes to a quiz. So it's like a social quiz to get this $5 pledge. But if you hate quizzes, you can just add it to $5. This is kind of interesting. The last time I saw a quiz and giving you something for it was Flamecraft. So, you know, this is nice to see. Nice to see. Alien factions, don't enjoy them. They just look, I don't know. I mean, if you look at, let's look at what we've got on, you know, you've got Mass Effect, fantastic aliens. You've got Star Trek, fantastic, realistic aliens. We have Halo, amazing. You know, that's what you can pull from to make it look like real. But to put this kind of cartoon comic book on them really takes away from the theme. Ugh. So yeah, these are the puzzles that you can be getting on with. Now, what are designers saying? What are other people saying? Well, if you don't know this by now, everybody's in a little family, aren't they? Or the little YouTubers, aren't they all in each other's pocket? And they'll always contact each other to make sure they're all, you know, playing the same sounds through their trumpet. They're all too nice. They're all too respectful. And of course, they're cherry-picked stuff, right? Like a 4X game base in an hour. That's kind of this. It's like been a bit of a dream for years, but it's like a daft dream. Can no one do 2 hours? What's going on? Yep, you already get the brutal truth here, peeps, on the channel. Please think about subscribing. Ouch! I'm really expecting a wrath, a hail of hate whenever I do negative videos, but hopefully you can understand that this is subjective. And I tried to explain my retailitous that's covered the project in my eyes, and I'm still with the fact that, you know, it's could have been better if it was not with a resale company. No offense to the publisher. I just think they would have had a loftier ambition. That's what I would have felt. Anyway, shipping. Base game 15. Now, Mexico's not South America. They're pushing us to the rest of the world. $120. You can forget about it. That's insanity. Oh my God. Absolutely insanity. And you know, when we get these retail companies coming on Kickstarter, they always have this brutal fecking shipping chart for anyone who's not, you know, in a country where there's a lot of board gamers. And the rest of the world, for example, if you look at, which is going to be so obvious, the Kickstarter of the week for me, yesterday's video, Lucky Duck Gaming, you know, they've mastered shipping, those peeps, man. They are doing an honourable service because they're Kickstarter specialists, and they've really gone out of their way and done their due diligence to get worldwide shipping as low as possible. And here it's just like so, you know, disappointing that the publisher can't do its due diligence to get shipping down for the rest of the world. I mean, I'm just talking base box 120. Put the expansion in, it jumps by $80. How big's the expansion? And your shipping is supposed to be by weight, isn't it? You put an additional game on it, and price doesn't go up. So what's going on here? I don't know. Shipping seems to be a little bit OTT. You know, but you know, if, you know, shipping is potentially could be changed, and you know that's why you'd $1 go into the game. And I can never find out when it's gonna, you know, when is it gonna deliver? I can never find this out on the page. If you got this far in the video, where do I find it out on these Gamefound sites? It's not as clear as Kickstarter. When it's supposed, when is the estimated time of delivery? It's just not in the place, in the space you would think it, right? Yeah. Help me out, people, put it in the comments. Well, there we go. Last Light by Grey Fox Games. It's been hit with a retailitous hammer, and it's been sick. The art is disappointing, the board is disappointing, the planets are disappointing, the tech tree disappointing, the 1 hour playthrough is disappointing, the player boards are disappointing, the technology cards are too simplified is disappointing, it's all disappointing. Jesus, Mary and Joseph, you understand, I am not a fan of Last Light. Oh, peeps. And this, give me a game that I want to play in an hour. Not my cup of tea, you know, not my cup of tea. If I want to play a 4X, a minimum 2 hours, if not 3, just to respect that genre. There's lots of things going on in those games, and I don't think you need to streamline them, because every time you do a haircut on the 4X, it loses stuff. And that just reminds me, it's not even got the real exploration, is it? And the exploitation isn't really pressing either. You know, you could have had alien races that don't talk to this other alien race. They never will trade with them. You've got one where these are the enemies. They will attack on site. Like, you can't go in anywhere near them. They will home in on you. There's no AI to bring in AI things. It's an absolute travesty. I probably could rant on this for another 5 minutes, but I don't want to waste your time, you know. You know where I am on it, peeps. Oh dear. Oh dear. Well, I'm sure, you know, it's got 7,000 people following this. I need to press unfollow. I don't really want to get emails. You know. There you go. So it's got 7,000 people following it and only 958 backers thus far. That might change, of course, 23 days. But knowing my negativity, peeps, please put down in the comments, would you like to see a final thoughts on this where I go through all of its stretch goals? Because over the next 23 days, there might be some interesting stuff which I can cover. If you really want to, let me know in the comments, peeps. Oh. Please give the video a thumbs up if you've appreciated the true brutal honesty today. And all that good stuff. My team here said I needed to do this video simply because it is a big crowdfunding game this week. Seriously, yeah. All right, there we go. There you go. Do I recommend it? No, I don't. That's not obvious. It's not obvious, is it, peeps? We'll have more coverage this week, that's for certain. If you like Kickstarter games, think about following us on our channel by subscribing. And yeah, we do have a podcast at the weekend, which is we play different kinds of music, and we are specialising at the minute in the American Song Contest, which has been a blessing. It really has been a blessing. I love the music from the show. There is absolute some turkeys, of course, but you do get that in Eurovision Song Contest. But you know, when the good ones float to the top, they're definitely worth playing, and I'll be playing it on this week's broadcast, so look out for that. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you've reached this end of the video, I must thank you from the bottom of my heart. You are a true fan of the channel. And yeah. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. This is, of course, Kickstarter Radio 102.4. I'm your host, Lipstickpaddy. You take care, stay safe, and bye-bye for now.